Aurelio, welcome back. And I mean, no pressure. You're coming back for an absolutely huge game in Melbourne City's season.
Yep.
Is that the feeling there in the club as well? Like, this is it. This is make or break.
Yeah, well, I think we've got ourselves into a pretty tricky situation. When we look at least two of the last three games, they really should have been two victories, Newcastle and Central Coast. We did more than enough to win probably four games from those two outings. We weren't good enough against Melbourne Victory, but could have possibly got away with a draw that day. But I think we missed the opportunity in Newcastle with the one that we really needed to win, and the Central Coast game that we were well on top for the majority of the game and just didn't put our chances away. So now we're in the situation where the margin of error is completely narrowed. So it is a must-win for us.
In terms of the squad that you'll have available, obviously a couple of boys now on international duty, but it looks like Nuno's back.
Yep, should be fine. Yep, he's trained the majority of the week. Lex has trained the majority of the week. Besides a couple of the guys that have been out for a little while, like Scotty Galloway and Benny Mazzeo, and obviously Andy and still recovering from the operation, and Tills. Everyone else is absolutely fine.
Obviously, crushing news for Tilio that he couldn't go away with the Olyroos and try to qualify for Paris. But The scans that he's had and the assessments that he's had, has that indicated how long he'll be out?
Not 100% sure, but somewhere around the 2 to 3 week mark. He's progressing well. It's just an unfortunate thing. We had him right against the Central Coast Mariners game, and then all of a sudden something else pops up. Been a bit of a season like that for us with the injury front, but again, something we continually need to have a look at. And unlucky for him because when he's fit, certainly going to be an important player for us.
Given that you haven't mentioned Scotty Galloway coming back, and now you've lost Callum Talbot as well, looking increasingly thin on the flanks of your defence, how do you go about addressing that on the weekends?
Yeah, we've got a couple of options at right back, probably not the ideal ones, but we trained on that during the course of the week. We still got today and we still got tomorrow to finalise that, but whoever it's going to be there is not the ideal prototype of a fullback, but still believe that whoever goes in there is absolutely going to be fine to do a great job for us.
In terms of Perth Glory, we know that they can concede goals, but we also know that they can score goals. It can be very helter-skelter against the Glory. What are you expecting from them? Yeah,
look, always tough games against Glory, especially when you were over there, and a team that, as you said, not so much about conceding goals, but they're dangerous. You just don't. They're unpredictable. They got guys like Tags and Benny in the front that can really do some damage, and the midfield that's pretty clever. So it's going to be an absolutely tough game for us. But we know where we are in terms of what we need to do to get the result, and at the end of the day, Joey, it's about getting the result. We're going to play a certain way as always. And do our utmost to actually get the 3 points. But they're certainly a dangerous opponent.
They are a dangerous opponent, but you also look at the things like you look head to Melbourne, bottom of the table, heading to Melbourne. They don't normally travel well. They've conceded 50 goals. Is it almost a case of as well that if you can't get the win here, you probably don't deserve to be playing finals? These are the games you have to win to play finals.
Yeah, probably right. I think if I look back at, probably several months ago, probably close to 3 months ago, we had 3 opportunities in the course of the season where we needed, I can't remember who they were against then, but we had the opportunity to win a game to get to second place. And we had that second opportunity to do it, and we failed on both occasions. And then we were under pressure to stay in connection with the top 6 when we beat Adelaide here under difficult circumstances, but we beat Adelaide here 1-0. And again, we had those opportunities against Newcastle, which we should have won in terms of being a dominant performer and just not putting chances away. And we also did the same against Central Coast. So we got to get to the point now where it can't keep going against us. We've done a hell of a lot in the last 6 or 7 weeks in terms of the way we're playing now, our ambition to go and get the 3 points. It's been extremely strong, but at the end of the day, if you don't get the points at the end of 90 minutes, it's worth absolutely zero. So for us now, we're all aware, everyone knows, it's a must-win game. We've got to go out there, give our very, very best, and if we can give our very best, our form at home has been pretty good throughout the whole season, so it gives us a good leg up.
Engaged in that really battle for 6th place, Western Sydney, Melbourne City, Brisbane Roar and Adelaide United sticking around as well. AAP reported overnight that some A-League clubs have raised concern with Adelaide being able to field Nesteri or Nkunda, given that he wasn't called up for the Olyroos and whether that he should be allowed to play as a result. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I'm not aware of anything with Nesta, but in saying, I'm from the view, if your national team calls you, you go. Simple as that. You can't say no. That's just me personally, and I know the Olympic qualifiers is always in a tricky time slot because it's not in the FIFA windows. I was in that position 10 or so years ago, and you have to make those rules because the international, the overseas clubs are never ever going to release their players, even though you have great communication with the coaches and the clubs, and they say 6-12 months out, they say yep, that's no problems in April, absolutely fine. And then when it comes down to the last minute and the crunch of it, they always say no. So you do a lot of prep work with those players, a year out, year and a half out, and then you don't get them at the end. So I think the ruling, and that was probably set when I was there, the ruling that the A-League clubs must release their players is an absolute must. So I don't have any issue with that at all. We had Beachy and Callum going, and if we had Tills going, well, that's how it is. I think it's extremely important that the FA stick strong with that ruling.
And also just wanted to ask you, Aurelio, we've seen Max Caputo continue to start in recent weeks. Is that the plan going forward, heading into these last crunch games, to keep starting Maxi?
Well, Maxi's done a great job for us. I think 5 games, 4 goal involvements or something like that. So for an 18-year-old kid learning his craft, he's done a pretty good job. And when I came here, he was that far away from even me thinking that he was going to start, but the work that he's done, the extra work that he's done over this 4 or 5 month period is been phenomenal, and I think it's only just going to get better. Whether it's time for Macca to start again now, that's another discussion that we've been having this week. As I said, we've got 2 more training sessions today and tomorrow before we finalise who's going to start on the weekend.
Can you start them both? 4-4-2 or 2 up top, is that something that will work in your system, or is it not something that goes with how you want to get the team playing?
Probably not. We like one of those strikers floating in the midfield as well, and I think Mac has done that for us. For when I was an Olyroos coach, that was 13 or so years ago, but his game is completely different than Maxi's. Different types of players, but we still need someone who can float in the midfield.